Chromebook presents Ricky Thompson on The Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
Hello, you guys. It's me, Ricky Thompson, here on The Adulthood. Today, we're discussing the power of joyfulness and how to share your joy with the world. Let's go. Growing up, I always knew that I was different. I was very shy. I was a theater kid. I was bullied really bad. It was so crazy. I just remember feeling so low. I was like, am I gonna get accepted? Are people gonna love me for me? I also just had a fear of just being alone. If I wanted to be myself, is everyone gonna leave me? I felt like if I was silent and I was shy and I was on mute, nobody would bully me, but people still bullied me for that. Those were some dark, dark days. I really wish I could tell my younger self, don't be afraid, don't let people walk over you. Don't worry about what they have to say, but stand up for yourself. Because now I wouldn't tolerate it. I realized I can't stay quiet, I have to have a voice. I just found joy in making people laugh. I made bullying stories into something that was funny, and a lot of people related to it. Like, I found a way for me to really just get it all out. This is what I went through today, but I laughed about it, I'm gonna move on. You just have to sprinkle a little positivity over negative things, or it'll just get real ugly. I really, really, really loved performing, and I knew for a fact that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a star. That's exactly why I started my whole social media career. My social media is like my stage. Going from somebody who was always quiet and then going on stage and having such a big voice was just such an amazing feeling. This is exactly who I am. Like, I can see what's in the mirror, and that's a beautiful person who is smart and kind and hardworking and, someone who's unapologetic. Just all of that just made me feel comfortable to come out online first. Before I came out, I felt like I was always hiding this creative, fun person. As soon as I came out, I have never felt so good about myself. I was like, wow, that was something I was holding on for so long. But as soon as I switched on that confidence switch, oh my gosh, the tables turned. And now that I'm out, I'm gay, I'm Black, I'm proud. Once I let all of that hiding and negativity go, I felt like I could just literally do anything. I feel like everyone should really think about when they want to come out. Do it when you're ready. Find those people who are going to support you and love you and, just really be there for you. When you're so you attract more people. I found since me being this loud, funny, crazy person, I've attracted some of the most amazing people in the world. I feel like if you're you, that's what people are attracted to. Uniqueness, that's what we love. The key to living a joyful life is you have to surround yourself around positive people and always think positive. Hey, we all go through stuff each and every day, but let's laugh about it. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride, but I promise you, it's gonna be a fun ride. So be you, keep your head up, and you got this. Period, yes.
Chromebook presents Keke Palmer on The Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
What's up, you guys? I'm Keke Palmer here on The Adulthood. And today, I'm going to talk to you about how to create boundaries, practice mindfulness, and putting yourself first. Get into it. Okay, so when I was about 17, things started getting really, really crazy, success-wise, and it really just switched the dynamics of my family. They didn't really understand the trauma that I was going through when it came to being famous. I was thinking about getting emancipated, and I had a conversation with my attorney, and he said, you don't have to do this. Many people have experienced what you're going through. You just have to set boundaries. Oh man, boundaries are the stepping stone of self-respect and us teaching other people how to respect and love us. So when we don't know our own boundaries, it kind of becomes difficult to blame other people for what they may say or do. When I was a kid, girl, I would just stop talking to people forever. A lot of those people didn't even know what they did. I was actually cutting off a lot of good people that do love me and that would want to know how to best be there for me. If you find yourself in that position, it's no problem with letting that person know, look, I'm going to need some time. And if those people love you, they'll understand that. And that's why self-care is also so important. I can say from my experience as a Black American woman, there's a lot of stuff that you have to choose to block out. And that's not you being passive, that's you paying attention to the goal. It's important to add practices in your life that can help refuel you. Mindfulness, meditation, It allows the space for you to be objective to your own thoughts. Literally a few weeks ago, I was in the car with my friend, and we had just came from like a lunch. He was introducing me to friends of his, and I think I was kind of nervous. And I found myself in the car. I literally caught my own thoughts attacking me. I was literally in my head being like, who did you think you were? You thought you really had it like that? Girl, you look stupid. I just caught myself trying to say mean stuff. And I just told myself it's not true. When I'm active in my practices, I'm able to catch myself much more quickly when I start to do bad self-talk. And when we're sometimes dealing with so much in the world, we don't even realize all we need is just a bit of stillness to help balance us back out. Just take 5 minutes of each day to sit still. It's just closing your eyes, sitting in the seat, and just breathing. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3. Breathing out, 1, 2, 3. I think these things really help, and they help you to be able to see past things that are within our identities that we all have, whether it's being Black, whether it's being white, whether it's being a woman, whether it's being Spanish, whether it's being Asian, whatever it is, we all have identity and things that trigger us. So when we really become in tune and add those kinds of practices to our lives that remind us that we're not a drop in the ocean, we're the ocean in one drop, it becomes easier. And instead, let's put our focus on enjoying the ride and having fun with what we learn through this experience of being a human being and experiencing life.
Chromebook presents Caliucci's on the Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
Hey everyone, I'm Caliucci's on the Adulthood, and we're talking about how to listen to your intuition and take risks to follow your passion. You ready? I really always felt that I was very unique, that my experiences growing up were very unique. I tried to find any way that I could to always use that to my advantage. I learned to read and write Spanish because I went to school in Colombia when I was really little. It was really difficult as a kid to go back to the United States. Sometimes it's hard to switch on and off the English switch, the Spanish switch when you're little, and you have to learn 2 different national anthems and 2 different alphabets. Although I loved learning, I never agreed with school teaching us to be obedient and to follow rules more than anything else, because everybody essentially learns differently. You should always pursue whatever makes you feel fulfilled. I was in some AP classes and I was like, I don't plan to go to college. They were like, what? And everybody was like, are you crazy? You know, it's like, this is what you're supposed to do next. My personal experiences always made me realize that what made me the happiest was when I was creative. Sometimes when people say like, oh, how did you figure it out? It's so personal and it's so unique to every individual. It's very much about intuition and your own relationship to yourself. Technology, it really helps you understand that it's such a bigger world out there. More than anything, it helped me find a lot of new music and a lot of different genres. When I first started putting music out, I was always very proud of where I came from. I also wanted to sing in Spanish, but for industry people, it was very much like, which one are you? Are you Colombian? Are you American? What are we selling? Do you sing in Spanish or do you sing in English? Which one is it? But when you really look at it, I mean, I'm an artist. I'm not a product. When I was creating Sin Miedo, a lot of people told me that it was not going to be successful. They said that it's very difficult to cross over into Latin American music. I just thought, well, okay, I don't expect it to be successful. This is something I feel very called to put out, so it won't be a failure. I'll have made it from love and with pure intention. I definitely did not expect for it to be successful the way that it's been. It's a nice reminder that following our intuition is the most important thing that we can do. Sin miedo is a very typical phrase in our culture. My aunt used to say to me a lot, sin miedo, sin miedo. It's kind of like just do it, like just going for what you want to go for and doing things without shame. You should never be afraid of failure. I think failure is very much a man-made concept. If you're actually doing what makes you happy and it made you feel fulfilled, then it's not a failure. I'm still learning and growing. It's very much a process that I don't know if it ever really ends. I hope to someday soon feel fulfilled enough that I'm like, okay, my job here is done. Drops mic. At the end of the day, I would remind everyone they should listen to the voice inside them and not all of the voices around them. And the rest will follow.
Chromebook presents John Wall on the Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
What's up? I'm John Wall, and this is the Adulthood. And we're talking about navigating the twists and turns of growing up and keeping yourself on track. I had my bumps in this road of being a young kid to an adult to being an NBA athlete. At times, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I didn't know where I wanted to be. Losing my dad at 9, then one of my older brothers go to jail for a long time. I was always bad tempered, always in trouble, getting kicked out of basketball practice. That's something I had to learn growing up, was not to go off emotion so much. The path that I want to get to of making it to the NBA, I can't get there if I keep continuing doing these things. So I had to kind of distance myself away from certain people and just love them from a distance. When I started to do that, then I started to do better things. You have to kind of have a role model. My role model was my mom, seeing her work 3 to 4 jobs to make sure we had food on the table, sometimes not paying a light bill so I can go play tournaments. My sophomore year, I was on the basketball team, and I got cut. That was the first time I ever seen her cry about basketball. That gave me more motivation to be like, okay, my goal is to make it for her now. I know I might want to go hang out with my homeboys and do this, but that's not the right thing. Me being from Raleigh, North Carolina, the South Side, I've shown people from there that you can make it out. And that's everybody's ultimate goal is if you grow up in a bad area, is how can I make it out? When I go back to my community, they all know what I grew up from. When I see a lot of these single moms, I see my mom. When I see a lot of these kids, I see myself. And I always tell them education is the most important thing before anything. Because if you don't get that, you don't get to play sports. And that's something I wish I knew at a young age, because when I was going through high school, I thought you just play basketball and go to college. So I realized, well, you better get your grades up. Even me, I'm going back to school to get my degree in business management. Like, I'm dedicating myself to that. That's one of my ultimate goals, is I want to do it for myself first, but I promise both of my parents that. I was a product of my environment because I didn't have opportunity to have social media. Now I feel like if I have a vision or a goal I want to see, it's so much technology out there that we can use to give us that extra motivation. Don't be afraid to DM somebody and ask them a question. Networking, that's what it basically is. You have to network. Now your vision seems like it's even more true to become because you have more access to it. Whenever you're in a dark place or a negative place and you're trying to find yourself, you have to go find something that makes you happy. I love playing with dogs. I love to bowl. That's my favorite hobby, is bowling. So if I want to clear my mind and I can't play basketball, those are things that I do. You might not be a professional athlete. You might be a doctor or a police officer. It doesn't matter. You have to sit down, take some time and find yourself. Start taking notes and figure out what you want to be in life. My mom always told me, it'd be great to be known as a great basketball player, but it'd be better to be known as a better person. No matter what you did in the past, it's what you're doing going forward and what you can do for the future. It don't happen overnight, but whatever your ultimate goal is, you can reach it. It's just about how hard you're going to go for it. There's no shortcuts to being great at whatever you want to do. Be true to what you are and stick to what you got going.
Chromebook presents Michaela J. on the Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
It's Michaela J here on the Adulthood. Today, we're talking about real representation in storytelling and why lifting up different voices is so important. Alrighty, let's do it. So as a kid, I was always the one to shine very bright in a dark room. I was always considered different, quirky, or just out of place. My mind always geared towards female, always. And with expressing that came backlash. That sparked a fire under me to be rebellious and keep being me. I would encourage the next generation to just walk with their heads held high, to live out loud. I had to take some time to grow into my identity as a trans individual who is a woman and as a person who is of color, who is intersectional with all of those. And being that there weren't a lot of representation of trans people, I looked to stories. So for instance, Cinderella. My mother never treated me like the stepchild, but I felt like the world treated me like a stepchild. Cinderella finally got in that glass slipper to have a fairy godmother come along and say, here's this dress, you're going to the ball. And I said, I'm gonna be the princess that no one would ever see coming. And she came through. This ball that I'm partaking in, it's the world. I would tell any younger individual who's coming up in a time where they don't have a clue how to be their own representation, write your own stories. That is what I had to bring to Blanca, to bring her and the story of Pose to life. I loved curating that, taking pieces of my life, as far as my mother, as far as the trans women that were in my life in the ballroom scene, as far as myself, and making sure that I gave the best example of how we as women of African American and Latina descent, who so happen to be trans, are. Storytelling can really change the narrative, especially if you tell a story that is rooted in realism with a little bit of glitter added on top of it. That's what technology is doing for all of us today. It's amplifying our voices and it's making us more confident in our voices. I would tell young people, make sure that you're using it to amplify the voices of people who don't have a voice to be amplified. You have to get the stories from the source itself. It opens minds and it opens hearts, and you see the light that is just beaming in each and every one of those people. I look at each and every last one of the humans on this earth as stars. Some people like to be regular stars, and then you have supernova stars. The ones that are like, I'm gonna shine until I can't shine no more, child. I gotta burst. And then they just release another bed of opportunities for birthing of more stars. Younger people can channel that inner star in any form they can. Lead with heart, soul, and mind. You have to pump through with some stardust on your heels, baby. You have to shine.
Chromebook presents Jeremy Lin on the Adulthood, a series about finding your way in the modern world.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Lin, and this is The Adulthood. We're talking about how to deal with the pressure of expectations and getting out of your own head. When we're growing up, our parents will always tell us, make sure you savor the moment or you embrace the journey. You had to make mistakes and you have to wrestle with that. It's not gonna look pretty every day, and that's okay. Growing up Asian American and playing basketball, you are always the underdog, you are always overlooked. It's always an uphill climb. My rookie year, after I signed with the Warriors, it felt like everybody was watching and everybody was expecting me to do something. I couldn't eat before games, I couldn't sleep before games. What ended up happening was I didn't play well. What I struggled with was overthinking. What if everyone gets disappointed in me, or you're not built for this, or you're wilting under the pressure right now as we speak? That's a really dangerous situation to get into when you feel like your accomplishments define who you are as a person. If somebody is struggling with overthinking, try to break it down and make it really simple. You have to strip away fluff so that you can really get to the core of like, what is the most important thing that I need to do? Identify these questions or these doubts that you're having and focus only on one or two of them that you can really attack and remind yourself about. The second thing I think is to talk to people around you and let them speak truth into your life. What strengths do I have? Hey, if you're really going through something, just call somebody you love. Don't block out your emotions. You need to find people and environments where you can have dialogue. I'm a big proponent of therapy to really talk through certain issues. We can lean on each other. That's what we're here for. And technology allows you to do that. One thing that I will say is if you are not content and satisfied today, you will not be content and satisfied when you get to the destination, if you get to the destination. With Linsanity, I had everything from the outside looking in, but I didn't have a deep purpose and I wasn't content and fulfilled before I got to the mountaintop. So when I did get to the mountaintop, I also was not fulfilled. And that's why I would emphasize, find out why you're doing what you're doing, find a deep purpose so that you don't feel like you have to accomplish things to feel whole inside. Even though I don't have an NBA job, I'm sad, don't get me wrong, but I'm joyful. The difference between happiness and joy is that happiness kind of rides with the circumstances of life. Being joyful and content goes above that, where it's like a deeper sense of like, this is who I am. As you go through life, your definition of greatness or success will change. And so instead of comparing yourself to other people, the real comparison is yourself. Can I be the best version of myself? Can I be better than I was yesterday? There's something beautiful about giving your best effort and having high integrity and character when no one is looking. And it's in those situations where you have to keep reminding yourself, I owe it to myself to do my best. And I can't let the outside noise tell me who I am or whether I'm good enough. That has to come from within.